What's this project you're working on?
Well, this project is fun, that's for sure. This project is for a friend of mine. My client has agreed to a triptych of 3 paintings. One is going to be of a cheetah, the other one is going to be of a tiger, and then the next one is going to be of some jungle foliage. We have a name which is going to be put across the middle, and it's going to be fun. I'm doing a tie-dye effect. I've been taking tape, putting it along the outside of what it is that I want to apply paint to, and I've cut away the excess tape that I don't need. Then I've applied paint with a palette knife and several colors at a time, so that I get this nice swirling kind of blended effect, so it does this nice tie-dye effect. So
after that, you're gonna make like line work on it and clean it all up.
Yeah. Then what I'll do, I'll take my base coat of paint for the background of the canvas, apply it. I'll make a fine line along where I have the leaves, but where I have all of the text, I've got in a nice little tube paint that I use. It presses down a raised line onto the canvas.
So
it leaves a beading, or it can leave a very nice fine line, actually, like a continual line going across the canvas surface.
So it doesn't sort of spot.
Exactly. So it makes a nice.
So you were originally trained in graphic design, though?
Yes, I was. I went to Algonquin College. I was a student there, probably through, I think it was 89 through 90, and for graphic arts, and trained mainly in commercial art. Wow. Yeah. I'm having some complications.
That's all right. You can fix it up after.
Yeah, exactly. These things happen. It's
Now, you have trouble with fluorescent tube lighting, is that right?
Yes, I do. What it is that I have epilepsy. So what I find that I'm sensitive to is the refresh rate of fluorescent tube lighting. So what I experience, where most people have a continual light source experience from fluorescent tube lighting, I experience more like strobe lighting. I see the refresh rate on the actual bulb itself.
So the way you've described it is like when we've walked into a store, another light is flickering because the bulb is about to go or the ballast is about to go. And
Yes.
You said that, all of them look like that for me.
Yes.
So-
all the bulbs strobe.
Okay, so you got through high school and 2 years of college and working at Michael's and working at an art store
Yes.
and working at a coffee shop,
Yes.
always being subjected to this constant flicker.
Well, fluorescent lighting is everywhere.
Just about everywhere.
It's in school. It's at my doctor's office. It's
Yeah,
at my
yeah.
dentist's
Yeah,
office.
yeah,
It's everywhere.
So now, right now you don't work then? Like you don't have a job?
No, I don't have formal employment. I stay at home for most part of my life now. I'm receiving contracts for freelance graphic design and artwork, so I'm very, very pleased with that. That's very helpful.
And Ontario Disability.
Yeah, and of course I receive Ontario Disability, and that's my main source of income at the moment.
It was 2002 that you decided to stop using pharmaceuticals and
Yes.
start using cannabis.
Yes. I decided that after several years of being on anticonvulsants and without their success, most anticonvulsants, I gained a lot of weight. They would not control my seizures very, very well. I would begin an anticonvulsant and I'd start therapy with it. I'd do quite well maybe for the first month, month and a half, and then I'd start having more seizures. The seizures would become more frequent. So I decided that if my body was going to do this with pharmaceuticals, I would rather do it with cannabis and find out and experiment and research. I thought it would be a good thing to be doing and not waste my life.
So it worked really well for many years, from 2002 until 2008.
Yes, I was able to go 276 days completely seizure-free, straight in a row. And it was the first time in my life, in my entire life, that I had been able to go without seizures and do that completely straight. It was fantastic. And unfortunately, I haven't been able to do it since.
Well, yeah, in 2008, you had a big episode that hospitalized you for a day, and so now you have, what, about 20 seizures a month?
I'm going anywhere between 15 to about 20, sometimes 25 seizures a month. And most of them that I'm now experiencing seem to be, I'd say, petite mals rather than grand mal seizures. When I was younger, I had a lot of petite mal seizures, but as far as I understood, I was also experiencing grand mals. I'd be doing that thing that I do, and it was dreadful for a lot of people.
So this must be a very difficult life for you then. I mean, you're stuck at home, you're under 24-hour supervision, and you're trying to make artwork.
Yes.
What keeps you going?
The love of my husband keeps me going. The encouragement and support that I receive from my friends and from the cannabis community. It's been so generous and very, very supportive. It's been one of the major things that keeps me going. I enjoy doing art. Being able to paint and receive contracts and be able to do the odd project keeps me going. I find when I am doing art, I eventually forget everything else that I'm usually concerned about. I'm very distracted and concentrating on other things, and it's a form of progressive escape.
So this is very therapeutic for you then?
Yes, art I find is very therapeutic. I'm able to concentrate my thought, and I'm able to focus on what it is that I am thinking about. I sometimes do find complete escape from things that I'm worried about.
So, living a life like this, I mean, you must have quite a bit of resolve, because most people probably would have given up the struggle by now, I think.
Yes. I would like to make this last as long as possible. I would like to do it for cannabis research and see where it goes.
So you're sort of guinea pigging.
Yes, in a way I am. I'm making myself a self-using laboratory rat.
Yeah.
I'm very curious about what will happen with cannabis and with epilepsy and possibly the other complications that are my life.
So the doctor didn't come to you to prescribe it or suggest it. No one pressured you into trying it. This is all your own doing.
No, this was my own doing. I was curious about it since the pharmas weren't doing anything, and I was overweight. I was depressed.
This is back in 2002.
Yes.
16 years ago.
16 years ago. If I had not made those decisions that I had done back then, I wouldn't be here right now. It was basically me, if I was going to be going on another pharmaceutical prescription, trying something different, it was basically signing myself in. I was on my last legs, basically. So something had to be done. Either I had to make a huge change, or I had to basically just go out, and that was it.
So diet is a big part of this for you too, right?
Oh, completely. Diet is one of the main things. What you put in your body is a filter. And so I want to make sure that everything that I put into my body I can use, so that I'm not sensitive or allergic to, which can cause more complications and or more seizures. So
Even just wearing me down. I mean, if you're eating a lot
yes.
of, foods that aren't healthy for you, then your body's fighting that instead
Yeah.
of just that makes you more susceptible to seizures.
Exactly.
So
the other thing that I had noticed too, when I was working at a coffee shop, being a coffee shop tenant and opening up the store, doing my shift and such, I noticed when I was behind the counter, all of these people were coming up to the counter and they were jonesing for caffeine. It's like, give me my coffee, give me my...
they had a really stern look on their face, like they were going to slit your throat if you
absolute
didn't get the coffee right now, kind of thing.
Yeah, type thing. But I knew that wasn't the case
Yeah.
because, well, we'd be chatting in like 10 minutes. Everything would be fine.
As long as they had your caffeine.
Yeah,
fine.
so, and I realized, wow, I'm a drug dealer. And so I figured I don't want to be this, and so I figured I had to make some changes in my life. There was one moment where I had had a seizure, and I was living alone, and the tenant that was either upstairs or downstairs, I forget, had heard me not asking for help, I was kind of screaming for help. And I had had a seizure and I had fallen down in the bathtub. And so this gentleman was very kind and was able to assist and help me through that complication. And I've realized that I've gone through life having several moments like this where a seizure will just pop out and just happen, and it creates a shitload of complications for everybody.
You've cheated death a number of times. I mean,
Yes.
And I guess it was 2016. I guess you fell flat on your face on some
Yes.
concrete.
Yes.
You've fallen out of the shower several times and hit your head.
I had dislocated and rotated my hip. I have dislocated my shoulders, both sides. Right now I'm having a lot of complications with my left side. It does it more than my right. My right has, I'd say, physically more healed up now than what my left is. I still have a lot of work on it. And
But it'll drop out just as you reach up for a glass in the cupboard or something.
yeah,
like that.
yeah. I know that there are certain movements and certain positions that I can do. I know that if I want to put my arm around my husband, I have to take a breath at a certain point and brace my muscles, and like that, for example, it just popped out. Yeah. So yeah, I've got a lot more weightlifting to do.
Mm-hmm. So it hasn't been just seizures then. Your life has been quite painful with injuries and...
Yes. There was one time, I recall, in elementary school, it was around grade 1 or grade 2, we're coming down the stairwell at Naismith School, and it's a set of 2 steps down, and it's concrete with tile on it. And evidently I was walking down the stairs and I went into seizure mode. I started turning and growling and went into convulsions, and I washboarded down the stairs. I recall waking up in, it was either the health room or it was back at the house at home, and I was lying down on the couch with a hot water bottle or an electric blanket, this type of thing. So there was problems there. I've done it over at the museum here in Ottawa, over at the Museum of Nature. I was walking down the nice big huge stairwell that they have, those big curved stairs, and I just went into it. And then I had woken up, and all the museum attendants, the manager, all of this, my family were all around me and comforting me and letting me know that everything was okay and all this stuff. I had dental surgery once, and to have my wisdom teeth removed, And when I came to out of surgery, the nurse had basically told me that, well, they gave you the injection of sedative, and you died on the spot. We gave you CPR, and you're here now. And except they said in a more professional manner. And
They're pretty dry though, and then they just walk out.
Yes. There was.
You were dead for a bit, but you're not now, and your teeth are done.
You're not now. The woman was there with a clipboard. Yes. She had bifocals. Yes. You were in surgery, and yeah, we gave you the shot of sedative, and you died. We this type of thing. So it was just all.
And then of course you were dead.
Deadpan.
You were dead in the fall of 2001 as well.
I quite possibly were. I don't remember.
Yeah. Well, there was an episode where you stopped breathing, and I had to do CPR, and afterwards there was a tunnel of light and everything you said.
Yeah, it was an interesting experience. From what I can remember, I think I was trying a new prescription of anticonvulsant. And there might have been another pharmaceutical, like an anti-stress type
Celexa?
I think it was Celexa.
And gabapentin?
Gabapentin, that's it. It was Celexa, gabapentin, and Ativan. And I had taken what was prescribed to me, which was
a very low dose,
it
actually.
was very, very low, because they wanted to make sure
well
that,
under the safety limits.
Yeah, well under the safety limits. They wanted to make sure that there would be no complications or anything like this. And so I took my prescription as I was supposed to, and I think I might have had maybe a nice shower or something like this, and tried to relax. And
we were curled up on the couch watching
curled up on the couch. We were watching something, and everything just faded. It just went dark. And then something.
You've since described it as when you saw Train Spotting. You went, yeah, like that. That's what happened.
Yes.
When Renton sinks into the floor. And
yes, it just felt like I lowered and then yet drifted up and more or less drifted away from things. There was a
up
sense,
and down at the same time.
Up and down at the same time. It's a sense of detachment. It's kind of like ecstasy at raves, but without all that pleasure.
Yeah. But unsettling.
Yes, very unsettling.
Wow.
And so it was very similar to the dental surgery experience. So I knew at the point where I was drifting away from things that, wow, I could be dying right now.
Well, part of epilepsy is not just the seizures, it's other things too, right? Like you have trouble articulating words and articulating thoughts, finding the words you need, things like that.
I do. I find it very frustrating. And what cannabis does, cannabis provides me with a sense of traction that pharmaceuticals simply don't do. I find that the pharmaceuticals just sedate, they just drain away your energy, you just become complacent and just sedate.
It's an underwater feeling.
It's an underwater type of feeling, not like you're drowning, but it's kind of like a hotness, a warmth that just kind of smothers you. It's very.
It's not a fun buzz, and there's a buzz kind of, but it's not a fun buzz at all.
It's nothing enjoyable, and I actually find it causes me more discomfort and more nervousness, anxiety, because of the fact that I don't have that, physical relationship
with
reality. And I need that with my epilepsy, because there's so many points, so many spots that are missing. It's like Swiss cheese. Mm-hmm. It's there, and it's dense and thick where it is, and delicious.
But then there's nothing.
Then there's nothing.
Yeah.
And I find that with the cannabis, it helps me relate. It helps me get a grip on things. And I wished I had it in my life as soon as I could possibly have had it.
Yeah. So you didn't start pharmaceuticals until you were 21, right?
Right. I recall my mom on occasion, we'd be taking vitamins, like Flintstone vitamins, which I thought were absolute candy, because as soon as I'd eat them, I'd have sparkling minor seizure trauma. I'd have too much stimulation.
Like you felt a zizz in your head kind of thing.
Oh yeah, I'd be seeing like sparkles on things. So it was a whole bunch of whole bunch of symptoms.
So your what they called your fainting spells at the time.
Yes, it was. I was told that I was fainting or doing that thing that you do, but people wouldn't actually tell me what it was that I was doing.
So they put you on birth control at about what, 13?
Yes, I was put on birth control pills when I was 13. They were supposed to. Well, my mom said, we don't want you experiencing, that thing that girls have happen. And, I told my mom, well, I'm not planning on, having sex or anything like this. And said, well, it's just better for you that way. You're growing up, it'll help you with your fainting
They must
spells.
There must have been somebody must have thought that you would grow out of it as puberty came on or as puberty ended.
Yes,
but then it didn't.
Right. I was told when I was a child that the fainting spells would probably stop as soon as I started my period or shortly thereafter, possibly when I was about 18. And they told me that it would probably stop as soon as I hit puberty and went into menses. But everything just seemed to get much, much worse and more frequent.
So at 21, you were told that you'd be lucky to live to 40.
Yeah. What actually happened? I was visiting with a friend living next door to this young man, and his mom was a nurse, and family was a lovely family. And I'd had a seizure at their house. We were in the basement, and we were visiting with each other, and I went into a grand mal seizure. So after I came to, and I was on their sofa, and they told me, hey, everything's fine, don't worry, you had a seizure. And I said, I had what? It's like, you've had a seizure. So I told them, well, all I know is that they're fainting spells, what's a seizure? So they just did that jaw drop thing. Oh my God, you don't know? And it's like, nobody's told me. People have been lying to me, and people who tell me that I should be telling the truth are actually lying to me, and I can tell that they're lying, because what they're telling me is they're trying to hold back a lot more pain than what they're conveying.
Right,
and
yeah.
It's
You could tell they were hiding
this,
something, but
yeah,
you didn't know what.
It was something huge. And so yeah, that went on. So she suggested, well, hey, I know this gentleman, works over at the neurology department at Kingston General Hospital, and he also worked at Queen's University too. I believe he was a professor in neurology back then. And so I ended up going and visiting with his technicians in Kingston. I had spent a weekend there. I went for an EEG, and I think I also had an ECG, and I think maybe a MRI, CAT scan.
About potential, probably.
The entire thing. And what was interesting?
Before Gregory House treatment.
Oh yeah, completely. I was a laboratory rat, and I found it absolutely fascinating. I love biology. So anyways, they wired me up, they got me all set, and they hooked me up, they turned on all of their equipment, and there was basically just one technician in after the other. They're conversing with each other. I can see that they're, wow, holy shit kind of reaction, and they're pointing at things, and I can see excitement.
Stroking your chins and stuff.
Kind of thing. So I could see that something was up, and so the gentleman comes in, and he says, "Wow, holy shit!" And I asked him, "Well, what's up?" And he says, "My God," he says, "You are having an electric pulse, basically in your brain every 3/8 of a second. Technically, you should not be able to concentrate. You should not be able to carry on a conversation,
or
walk, talk, take a half-decent crap. And I'm afraid to tell you that you could possibly lose your bowels and have incontinence later on."
Two-thirds of each second your brain's not working. 1/3 of your second it is.
Yeah.
So you're
this
kind of
type
constantly
thing.
out of phase.
Yeah, so I'm completely out of phase.
And that explains the
on
light
things.
flicker.
Yes, which explains the light flicker that I'm sensitive to that I can see in fluorescent bulbs.
Or
and,
old computer screens, or
yeah,
old
computer
tube
screens,
TVs.
old tube TVs. I see that
This is
roll.
line,
I
yeah.
see that line that completes the actual image that
Right.
you guys experience as your computer screen.
Right.
So this stuff I find fascinating. So yeah, my brain's out of loop. It's a generalized electrical problem. There's nothing actually causing the epilepsy.
There's no anomaly in your brain.
No,
you can point to
there's-
the MRI and go, see this little blip right here? That's not
You see this golf ball that was implanted in your head back in '95 when you went golfing with your friends? No, it's nothing like that. There's nothing inside.
Okay.
So it's just a generalized electrical problem. And as far as I know, it was quite common in our family. My grandfather Lowe, he had experienced a bit of epilepsy, but he actually grew out of it when he hit puberty.
And then your father's
And
brother.
then my father's brother, my uncle Albert, he actually has epilepsy.
He's dead
and-
now, but
Yes, he's.
but he got meningitis as a child.
Yes, and I believe that might have been.
So you get a different kind of epilepsy.
Yes, he might have had a different kind of epilepsy. They don't know because they didn't give him the research guinea pig science treatment that I had the opportunity of partaking in.
So your situation now is that you've been prescribed a very high dose of cannabis. First it was 12 grams a day, now you're up to 50 grams a day, which you haven't.
I have not yet received.
Received because of circumstances.
Exactly.
So right now you're using about what? 8 grams a day.
I believe it's about that.
Yeah.
I'm
6 oral plus.
I'm taking 6 oral, and I take that
dabs.
in coconut oil, and the rest is in dabs or sometimes in bud through my volcano.
Okay. And that's
And-
not really controlling the seizures, just.
No, it's nothing seems to be controlling the seizures, but it is helping with a lot of the symptoms of it and a lot of the other complications that come with it and a lot of my other medical problems that are not epilepsy or epilepsy related.
So it's the best choice at this point.
At this point it is.
Pharma's, nothing, or pot.
Yeah, it's pharma's, clean living, eating, and that's basically,
Right.
no pharmas.
No pharma's.
Pharmas
No,
are.
you're on a
Yes, I'm on a hormone.
hormone for your thyroid.
for-
There are
for
some things that
thyroid.
pot won't cure,
No,
like thyroid. Or,
yeah, exactly.
making it's good for your bones and stuff, but you know, like you're going to grow a finger back or something.
No. But I'll be reasonable about things when it comes to the actual.
Now you go to the trouble of eating well
Yep.
because, well, medicine-wise, you're surviving mainly on charity.
Yes. I'm trying to do the best that I can with the supply that I have access to, and because of the fact that I'm receiving charity and some donations, I'm trying to do the highest standard of clean living as possible. I don't want to.
So it's not like
make
you're
any
sort of snooty, like,
complication.
oh, well, we're into organic food and we eat this fancy.
No.
These fancy Lululemon chicks. Yeah.
No, we're barely getting by with the amount of groceries that we have in our fridge. The cost of organic food is, another at least 1/3 to 2/3 more expensive
Depending
than
on the
regular
item,
food,
yeah.
depending on the item. So I see a lot of foods in the grocery store that sure I'd love to be trying and eating and experiencing, but I just simply can't afford them, and it's just the basics right now.
So, at the casual suggestion of your doctor, we want to make sure that's clear. It wasn't like you were pressed or anything. At the casual suggestion of your doctor, you tried the ketogenic diet.
Yes.
For about 4 months last year. What
Yes.
happened there?
Wow. Let's see. I recall trying the diet. I thought, well, some of these vegetables are gross and disgusting, but hey, I've got to eat them, so I do. And I think there was some weight loss, and I ended up getting very, very sick, and I think I ended up in hospital.
Yeah, you had a psychotic episode.
That's what it was. I completely wigged out. I hulked out.
You were screaming gibberish for 20
I was
hours.
screaming gibberish in my apartment at my husband. I have vague recollections of biting into my husband's shoulder. And the police, the ambulance attendants were all very, very considerate and very polite about things. There was no trouble there.
But we were handcuffed.
But yes, I was handcuffed. My husband was handcuffed, and that was
Guns were pointed at us.
Yeah, guns were pointed at us. The whole shebang. I recall they had put me in straps on the emergency cart going in the ambulance. They had me restrained, and I had slipped out of their restraints. They had then put me into handcuffs, and with my double-jointed hands, I had slipped out of the handcuffs and smiled, kind of like, ha ha, April Fool's Day, kind of thing. And they realized that I was more of a pranking approach and being friendly with them rather than being
still
psychotic and
psychotic
criminal.
episode,
Exactly. They could see that there was a little bit of traction in something coming back.
Because you were screaming nonsense. It wasn't like you would, I'm fed up with my life, and it wasn't like someone who became extremely frustrated. You were talking gibberish.
All I can remember is really just going, rah!
Yeah. So much like a Hulk experience.
It was a Hulk experience.
You only vaguely remember some of it.
Yeah, if I can even remember any words from it, nothing at all. I remember all the emotion. I remember all of the anguish and more of the physical thing about it rather than the actual word and literature of things.
So, what are your plans for the future?
Well, some of my plans for the future, I would like to continue with cannabis research and the cannabis approach, because I don't think there's too much left in pharmaceuticals for me. It's a bit difficult trying to get the supply that we need. Wow, just lost my thought.
But
yeah, this happens. This also happens in conversations. I've got myself articulated. I know exactly what it is that I want to say, and then my thought just fades away. And
that happens less with cannabis than it does without it, right?
Oh yeah, totally.
So people think, oh, you're stoned, your memory issues.
It's
like no.
No, the more. Oh wow, yeah. The more cannabis that I have, the more articulate and the more efficient I become. I ended up having the opportunity of going to Toronto with my husband, and we went to a dab fest.
No, that was here in Ottawa.
Oh, that was here in Ottawa? Okay.
Again, conflating.
Yeah, conflating things that happens with epilepsy. So anyways, yes, there was something going on here in Ottawa, and we went, and there was this kind gentleman who said, hey, have you had a dab? And I said, no, not at all. What is this? So he explained to me what it was, and I figured, well, he needs to know. Well, sir, I have epilepsy. I could take this, and I could possibly have a seizure, and I could possibly die. So I don't want to be held responsible, and I don't want you to be held responsible. Are we cool? And his, yes, we are. And he says, you need a large dab. And then he dabbed me, and he says, just take it nice and easy, relax, inhale. And I said, well, I'm a flautist. And he says, oh, well, it's just like blowing on a flute, but in the opposite direction, you're inhaling. So I said, oh, so I use my diaphragm muscle. And he says, yes. So I go and I inhale, and I inhale, and I inhale, and I inhale, and I keep inhaling, and this is off of this one dab, and he's, wow, kind of thing. So he offers me another. So he notices that I'm starting to relax, and I'm giggling and having a wonderful time. So we keep doing this and doing this and doing this, and I don't know, I think I must have had about 13 dabs in a row. It was incredible. They were the size of raisins, and I was able to breathe without asthma. I was, it was just an absolutely wonderful time. Thank you so much.